Hello, hello, everybody. Welcome to this week's episode of Cafecito with United Latinas. I hope you guys are having a blessed and beautiful day. This is going to be an exciting episode today because we're talking about something that comes up a lot, actually. So I love this topic number one, finding meaningful work. Second is how do we create team strategies and team synergy within organizations. And you specifically, you're going to tell us a little bit more about that with your profession, Heidi. Before we kick it off, I want to remind those of you that are watching us and catching up with it. If you are not a member of United Latinas yet, you need to become one. I invite you to come into our community, come into our hub, and connect with us. We got lots of events going on and lots of cool things happening all the time. And this is about leveling everybody up and making sure that we make the difference that our collective power has. So, all right. So welcome, Heidi.
Thank you.
Yes, I know. I'm excited to have you. Give us a little bit of, before we get started, a little bit of background. Who's Heidi?
Okay. First, I'm a proud United Latinas member. Okay. Well, let me think. So a little bit about me. I relocated to South Florida about 2 years ago, originally from the Bronx, but also spent quite a bit of time in Buffalo, New York. So went from one extreme to the other, weather-wise. My background's really been in public health, community health, neighborhood revitalization. That's really been kind of the core of the work I've done for a long time. And I've been really, really fortunate to be able to pivot into executive recruiting and talent strategies and a team solutions firm. So, yeah.
I love that. And I love neighborhood and community revitalization.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
What is that? Give us a quick.
Yeah, I love that. I really did love that work. I would say I I was the expert in bringing the experts together. That's kind of one way to kind of like give a Cliff Notes version of it. But it's really working with and alongside communities, not for communities. Being able to partner with organizations that are the experts in that work, whether it's housing, whether it's access to food, whether it's better education, better programming, opportunities for seniors, but really looking at like the neighborhood. What does this neighborhood need to be a thriving community, right? And kind of working on initiatives and projects to make that happen. So that's like, it was great. I gotta say, I loved it.
Yeah. I mean, even just thinking of that, it's like, okay, that's in essence what we all, I think, intrinsically want to do, make a difference in our communities and in that environment. So that's exciting.
Yeah.
So today we're talking talent strategy and finding team and how do we know? Because this is a big thing, right? With leadership development and leadership training within organizations, it's how do we get our teams to work efficiently together? Number one, how do we bring in new people into that team that vibe with that synergy or collectively can operate, amongst them? And I know you're in that field, you're around that. So whether, you see kind of what organizations, number one, are asking for, or maybe what you are prescribing. I don't know which way it works, right? A little bit of both, maybe.
Yeah.
And then finding individuals, right? Where do professionals need to be geared up and prepared for when it comes to those environments?
Yeah. So a little bit about Work Renewed and kind of like the difference, I think, for how we work versus maybe other firms possibly. So even though, we are a for-profit organization, we only work with nonprofit organizations and social impact and community-led organizations. So the majority of folks that we place in positions are on the nonprofit side, right? It's not the corporate side. Not to say that we wouldn't do that, but it has to kind of align with our mission, right? And our focus. I would say, like if we were just to talk about like, well, what does that look like? If like, what is team strategy? What does team solutions mean, right? So, um, in addition to placement, right? So if we're working with an organization, we're partners, we're true partners. And the reason I would say partners versus clients, because again, right, these organizations are working in communities that we care about, right? Like kind of across the country. So, looking for people that are mission aligned, um, thinking of their lived and shared experiences, right? Um, I would say people centered, community centered, right? So, and I don't, I can just speak to kind of, some of the folks that we work with, right? But in addition to placement, like Sandra, we placed you in this new CEO role, right? At this organization that is working in housing justice, right, for a particular community. How do we make sure that you are successful, right? As a woman and as a Latina woman in that role as a CEO, right? So we kind of come in and work with you and your team and your board and your staff, right? Which I would even say that community, right? And making sure, there is synergy, and how are we all going to move forward together, right? And move this mission forward together. So, that's just kind of an example of, in addition to placement, it's really making sure you're going to be successful, right? So it's like a little boop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I love that because especially those roles. That's why we added meaningful work, because what you're placing is not just everyday normal organizations are coming to it. These are nonprofits, like you mentioned, which are meaningful work, right? There's a lot of work that's either servicing the communities or working in BIPOC, areas where we're trying to make
Yeah.
sure that those communities rise. Right. So it is meaningful work. And I love that. So, finding someone, I would assume, that is really number one, applying for that position, or are you seeking them out, or are they out applying? How does it work with you?
Yep.
Mhm.
So we would, there's a model. So we have a model that we use when we're working with our partner, right? And there's a bunch of steps to making sure, like, it's the job creation, it's the stakeholder engagement, it's kind of like a listening tour, really making sure that we get it right. So once we go kind of through these steps, the job is placed, and we try to make it really easy for people to be able to, one, find the job, right? Make sure everything that you need to know is listed, including the salary, right? We want to take the guesswork out for the candidate. We want to make sure the candidate has a good experience. And then, they apply. And, one thing that we do also, if people have questions, they can email us, at our LinkedIn, right? We get back to someone within 24 hours. I can tell you, Sandra, I've had multiple conversations where even before people want to apply, they have a few questions, right? Rightfully so. And I'll get an email, and yeah, we're going to set up a call, and we're going to make sure this is the right thing for you before you take time, to kind of, apply for that role, and, schedule an interview and things like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see that certainly being a process. Which, how long is the process of number one, filling a C-suite position or a CEO position,
Yeah.
particularly? How long do you guys take to vet and go through that process to get the right person?
So from beginning to end, like, do you mean like kind of from beginning to closing? I would say, I think I'm comfortable with saying it could be up to 4 months, right? Because it's really about finding the right person, right? The
Yeah,
person that is mission aligned, that wants to be here, that wants to grow with the organization. And it isn't just one, two, three. It isn't, you
yeah,
know. And it has to be right for the organization, and it has to be right for the person. Like, I think not that this is HR, but sometimes these type of firms, like you can't forget about the person, right? This is like a
Yeah.
person. This is someone's livelihood. This is someone's career journey. So it isn't 1, 2, 3, but I feel like I'm comfortable with saying up to 4 months.
Yeah. No, that sounds about right, right? To get somebody that is, if not the right fit, near the right fit,
Yeah, yeah,
it takes a time because you do have to vet, especially in those positions. If somebody's really serious about that initiative that's going on, or that nonprofits work, right? You have to have passion, right?
yes.
And how do you qualify somebody for passion? Is it, like them telling you their life story and how, or how do you vet, how do you qualify for that?
That's a great question. And I think since there are different levels throughout that interview process, right? I think it's gonna look a little differently. So I can just speak, for me, I've had really been really fortunate to be able to kind of conduct those first round interviews. And I gotta tell you, Sandra, sometimes I'm like emotional, right? Because the person is, I love this organization. I'll do any I want. This is I want to work here, and I think that's the beauty of it being like in that nonprofit space, right? There, you know, um, it's so funny. Like some of these interviews, they can be a little heavy, right? When they're sharing their lived experience or their proximity to the position and that community and the focus, right? So I think it's going to look different, at the different levels, but I can share with you, I have spoken to many people who are, they're like, this is what I'm meant to do, or this is the impact I want to have on the world. I want to use my skills to have impact in this community, right? Because it's not only that I'm speaking to candidates that are in the nonprofit space, they're also in the private sector space, right? And they're
Yeah.
like, I've been with, I don't even want to say a bank, but let's just say like I've been with this corporation,
Mhm.
and you know what, it's not fulfilling, or my heart doesn't sing and I want to give back. So I've seen it from both sides. So the passion is there. I think there's not a lack of passion.
Yeah, I can only, like, for sure, like, visualize that, because we do innately, intrinsically want to do fulfilling work, right?
Yes,
And doing that type of work, and seeing some of the positions that nonprofits have open, it's like, oh my God, I think by nature just want to serve,
yes,
just want to feel like we matter. What matters more than service of others? Especially going back to communities of color or marginalized communities, this is something that really is impactful, especially for our communities,
yes.
is to giving back to that and making a difference there. Do you find like it's, how hard is it, like, with putting something out there, how many do you find that it's difficult to narrow it down, or do you find somebody that's really got that right energy, and then others that maybe, like, what do you experience when you're going through
So I think it's yes. I think it's
that?
yes, that I think there are so many talented, experienced, wonderful, amazing people, right? Looking for that, opportunity. I'm gonna take it a step further because I think you can relate to this. I've been many times in different roles, different functions, and there I would hear leadership, we can't find them. I hate that.
Mm.
They're not applying. We don't know. And I remember like hearing that even until, recently. And I'm like, you man. So the reason I'm saying that is there's specifically so many amazing, talented BIPOC, Latino, African American, Indigenous, Asian. I'm talking like that amazing, So I don't even know if that answered your question, Sandra, but yes, the talent is out there. And
Yeah.
it's not always easy to narrow it down. I will share that. But Work Renewed, I swear, like, the model that they have, and that they developed, and kind of how they work with our partners to kind of figure out, if I were to call it a rubric or the process, and everything that they do, it's to help narrow it down, because it's not easy, right? It's not easy for the decision maker who's gonna, be the person, to select who's gonna be able to join the team. Because ultimately it's not us. And I want to make sure, like, it's not us, like, we don't decide. We're gonna help our partner, give them all the tools so they can make, like, the right decision for their organization.
Yeah. I'm sure you guys just like highly encourage certain candidates because you have to, right? That's your thing, is like, okay, you ultimately decide, but we feel these could be the winners here, or between.
I think that's safe to say. Like, it's like, look at these attributes. Wow, right?
Yeah.
Look at these competencies. Wow. Look at this experience, right? Look how this person, did. And it's, looking at that whole package. It's not easy. I'm happy that we're not the decision maker, ultimately, for that.
Yeah. Which reminds me, because we've done conversations on this in the past, is for those of you watching who are not writing down all of your accomplishments, because time happens and y te olvida. You will forget that you did that thing. You're like, oh wow, I did this thing. Yeah. And then you're like, I'm going to remember this. You won't remember it. You won't remember it. You won't. Write it down, because I'll come across pictures. I'm like, oh my God, I forgot all about this, but write down and humble brag, right? We need to acknowledge our own accomplishments and the things that we do, and you need to keep tabs on it. And that's difficult for communities of color to do, because we always looked at that as bad, that's being, just audaciously and
showing off, and
showing
it's like,
off.
Oh, it's actually no.
Exactly.
Yeah. That is part of, one of the things, part of our culture, right? That that needs a little work, but I get that.
But for those of you who bring it.
Yes.
And do some good with that beautiful energy, because that's what we're here for. Right? We think, we are created, and we want to do, like I said, meaningful work, and people are out there wanting to do meaningful work. Position yourself so that you can go after some of these positions. And I'm so glad, just looking into a little bit of the work that Work Renewed has done, and just the background of it, it seems such a wholesome, organization that's you could sense it. It's like, wow, I want to work, whatever they're doing, it's making a difference. And you could sense that from the site, and from just even speaking to you también.
Oh, I'm happy. That I'm really happy to hear that. I like, when I say that I am lucky to work with the team I work with. The founder, Shalina, Sandra, she's from New York too, Brooklyn, right? Like, when you hear her why of, this is why I started the firm, right? And this is what we're gonna do, and in such an inclusive way where everybody can win. I'm just because remember, my background was public health, right? So for me to kind of come into the space, it was new and exciting. But I'll never forget, like, one of the conversations, right? It was like, she was like, what do you want to do? And I was like, I want to help people, but differently. Really, that's what I said. And it was, okay, well, come help place leaders of color and women, right, in the C-suite. And these are the folks that are running the organizations in our communities. And I was like, it just didn't dawn on me.
That is dope. That's dope.
So I love it. I'm excited. Talented team, and
That is amazing. That's just wonderful. And I want, even in the thread of this post and LinkedIn and stuff, we'll post a link, potentially to your group, your LinkedIn group, or the LinkedIn page. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then any positions that you have opening. I know that you primarily deal with the organization side to recruit, so you have a database. But how do you, let's say somebody's listening and wants to kind of be in your sphere of, hey, this is kind of around how do they connect with you, or
send me a message? send me a message, and I will commit to getting back to you within 24 hours. And if not me, I will talk, with the team, and someone will get back to you. We, I don't know, like, this is people's livelihoods, right? Like, this, you're spending more time at work than you are with your family, right? Like, let's get it right. Like, let us help you, make sure that it makes sense for you. Let us help you find, that opportunity. So yeah, just send me a message and we'll be in touch. Or if, on our website, there's a contact us page, and they could, you can leave a message, and, someone will get back to you.
Yeah. I love that, because this is not just a job. These aren't just positions. This is a career. This is a position to really impact communities, and you're
Yes.
either in it or
Yes.
you're not in it, right? You have to have head and heart in it space.
Yes.
So no others need apply, right? So it's
Ooh,
pretty
I
much,
like that. Ooh, I like that. But yeah. And if hopefully, ladies that are watching, and allies and friends that are watching, join the Mighty Hub. I post there too. Right.
yes.
And if you have questions there, I'll be more than happy to chat with you there as well.
Yeah, yeah. You got to post more of, like, maybe positions that maybe there's women that are just sleeping, because I mean, I said people are shy to kind of put up, but then when they see something that resonates, then they start chiming in on that. So,
Yeah.
yeah. So for those of you that aren't part of our Mighty Hub, unitedlatinas.mn.co. So join there for free.
Yeah,
Get to
love
be
that.
right.
Gotta put these plugs in there, right? Because it matters,
Mm-hmm.
And I just wanted to say too, when I was thinking about like how we started, and you were like, like team solutions, and kind of team strategies, even internally with our team, like when Shalina kind of started Work Renewed, it was, how do we make sure, and we're remote, right? We're a remote team, but how do we make sure that we're kind of like the vibe is right, you know?
Yeah.
And like for instance, next week we're off for shutdown. The team gets the week off, right? To kind of reset and kind of recover. We're off the week of Christmas for the team, right? So people can spend time with their family, we have unlimited PTO, right? And it's just, and the reason, I'm saying these things is because it's, when we work with organizations, we're working with the hiring manager, we're seeing kind of how they're set up with their employees, and we're like, no, we can't say, oh, awakening joy, right? It's like our tagline, awakening joy, purpose, and belonging. We can't say that and then we don't have that for our team, so yeah, I love Work Renewed. I should have worn my Work Renewed t-shirt for this.
Aw, aw. Should have been representing, but
I'm telling you.
Yep. No, but it's so true, because right, you want to have a space where you're working at also respects your quality of life and your mental well-being, and all of the things that you just mentioned is part of cultivating a healthy environment with an employer, and them understanding that, because when you give somebody unlimited PTO, that doesn't, nobody's off, so they work harder, right?
Yeah.
And you give your heart and soul to that organization that offers you that, so it benefits so much the organization to even put that on the table, because the truth is, I've been in spaces where most people do not take advantage of that, but it's good to have. It's a good to have.
Definitely.
So those are great spaces. Mm-hmm.
So we're all accountability partners to each other on the team. So it's so funny if I'll be like, oh, you haven't taken off in like, this whole quarter, like you need to. So it's like
That's great.
yeah, we have like these kind of things and like kind of check-ins in place, like we
Yeah.
want to make sure you're good, so
Yeah, that's great. That's a great reminder, because sometimes you're in it and you're like, okay, no, I can't take off, or I don't want to take off, or I'm in something, until somebody kicks us in the butt and says, mira, coge un día para ti, take a day for you, and just do what you need to do, because we do need that reminder. That's beautiful. I love it.
And I don't have statistics with me, but I've been looking, like at, Lean and Latinas, they had their report recently, and they're, and I look at the numbers and the percentages, and, the number of Latinas that are in positions of power. So, the reason I'm bringing that up is I would say there is so much opportunity out there, not only through, like the organization I'm with. I'm talking, that I'm seeing. And man, I would say apply. Don't go for the job that's here, go for the job, that's up, up there. And if we can be of, any service and help, like we genuinely truly want to be that for our communities and for our women and for like our Latinas. I don't want to forget to say that. Like, it took me, Sandra, to have this position here to realize, like, oh, I can do this, right? And I can, have a good salary, and I can, love what I do, right? And I don't think I was kind of taught that, right? It was, you get a job, keep the job, don't leave the job. Be happy you got that job, And no, that this is a different day for us.
Word up. I love it. I love it. I love it. Awesome. Awesome, Heidi. This has been a charming episode. I love it. I love your energy. I love our vibe.
I love your energy. I'm trying to match your energy, Sandra.
What? No, it's great. It's great. I want to give you the last word. And again, before I give you the last word, I want to remind you guys to connect with us and join us in the hub if you haven't joined us in the hub, and be part of what we're building here. We got a lot of great things coming up, and stay tuned, because we'll be releasing some things soon. So stay tuned for that. But Heidi, I'm going to give you the last to close us out and give us your last final thoughts.
So, not to put you on the spot, but I have to say it. So I joined United Latinas because of you. I attended meetings last year, and your energy was so good and so fun and so welcoming that I've never seen it in any type of membership or an association like that ever, right? And everybody that was participating was equally so, I feel like everybody was everybody's hype woman throughout the meetings, right? And your summit and things like that. So I'm really, really happy that we met. Thank you for making time for me. Thank you for allowing me on this, to talk about Work Renewed. I really love the organization I work with. I love the mission. I love who we get to work with. I think we're really unique. I think, we have our whole heart in what we're doing. And I just really appreciate the time to like, we were talking about bragging, to what did you call it? Humble brag?
Humble brag. Mm-hmm.
To humble brag about, what we do, how we do it, a little bit about the team. And hopefully, I inspired maybe someone, to kind of think differently about their job search, think differently about what recruiters they're working with, right? If there's, companies on the call, for them to be like, oh, what do you mean that you make sure that the person is successful? And, hopefully maybe this sparks some questions for folks. And yeah, please, I would say, consider me a resource. If you reach out to me, I promise I will get back to you. So thank you.
Awesome. And she will, because she's dope, because she's Heidi. Thank you for joining us. We will see you guys next week. Take care, guys. Be well.